As you can see from our main screen here, we're talking about Poynt. For those of you that have not been following my content the last week and you want to get more information about Poynt, I would really encourage you to go to youtube.com/ccsalespro. We have a bunch of content there. I did an unboxing video and then some other videos about some specific sales strategies you can look at with the Poynt terminal. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on going through these slides. I've just got a few slides to run through, and then we're going to get right into the interview with Joey from Boomtown. And I'm really excited about talking to him and getting some more information about the Poynt terminal. So let me just talk for just a couple minutes about why I wanted to do this live event and why I'm excited about Poynt. So I made some predictions late in 2016 about the credit card processing industry. Some of the predictions I made were about the cash discounting and how that was going to become a lot more popular this year. One of the predictions that I made, though, was that I was going to find a point of sale system that I really liked, that I felt like was going to be, had the potential to become like the operating system for these physical location businesses, retail, restaurant, these businesses that we see all the time when we're walking into a business. And the reason I'm excited about this event is because I really believe that I found a terminal that's going to fit that bill, a point of sale system that's going to fit that, and that is the Poynt terminal. The Poynt terminal is just an incredible mix. There's three things that I felt like, even back then, that I felt like had to be in place in order for a point of sale system to really become a dominant force in the industry. The first thing that I realized was that it needed to be an open platform. And so what I mean by that is a lot of you know that in addition to doing all the sales training stuff, I'm also a computer programmer, and I have my own development shop where we build software and things like that. And so I'm a really, really big believer in open platform. And so what I mean by that is the ability for us to build apps directly for the system. And so one of the things about Poynt that I'll talk with Joey about in a little bit that's most exciting to me is that Poynt is basically built on an Android platform. And so, basically any developer that could build an Android app can build an app for Poynt because it's on the same platform. And so it just allows for a lot of really cool things that can happen. There's a lot of apps that will be built. And so when I look at Poynt today, I already see a huge opportunity, which I'll talk more about in a minute, of just all the different businesses that can be switched over to Poynt. But the other thing that's even more exciting to me is I think over the next 24 months, as Poynt becomes more prevalent, developers are going to start building more and more apps for it that are going to target specific, verticals, target specific business needs. And so the fact that it's an open platform is really, really exciting. Now, the other thing I think that's really important is that it's actually an open platform, unlike, when you look at somebody like, First Data that's rolled out Clover. I did a live event about Clover like a year ago, and I still really like Clover. I think it's nice. It has the app marketplace that they've built in, but one of the big problems with them is they're not an open platform, and as you've seen, when you actually go to try to switch somebody that's on Clover, you literally cannot switch them. It's just impossible to do that. And they're just totally closed off with First Data. And I think that's actually really limited Clover and caused it to be a much less useful system because people are not going to want to build into something that's limited like that and it's locked in. And so I think in the long run, a platform like Poynt that really is just an open platform that's going after everybody, that's taking advantage of that distribution, it's actually kind of like, a rising tide carries all ships. It's going to really help everybody that's selling Poynt that everybody can sell Poynt. And so it's going to give us more distribution, a bigger network. And so the open platform, I think, is really important. The small footprint, I also think is really important. I just don't believe that in 10 years, 10 years from now, merchants are going to be processing on a terminal or on a point of sale system that's like a 17-inch screen. I just don't think that that's the future. I think we're all, I also don't think it's going to be just purely the smartphone either. I don't think business owners are all going to be using their smartphone to ring people out. I think that there's a middle ground there, but it needs to be a small footprint, something that looks nice on the counter, that fits in well especially with these smaller businesses, and Poynt definitely has that. And then also integration with key players. It has to be integrated with the key players. So in my mind, there's a few that are just absolutely vital. QuickBooks Online being at the top of the list because so many business owners already use QuickBooks. They already trust QuickBooks. And so that's going to be a tough player to compete with. I think it's a lot easier to integrate with them. And Poynt already has a great QuickBooks Online integration. And so I think that's really, really powerful. So let me just go through real quick. I'm going to go through the slides. Again, I'm going to cover this very briefly. I don't want to delay Joey because he's got much better information than I do. He's been involved with Poynt since early on. And so we're going to jump into an interview in just a minute. But I'm going to take a couple minutes and just go through some slides and talk about some of the key things. So for those of you that really don't know what Poynt is, you can see a picture of it here on the screen. If you're logged in online, the Poynt is the world's first smart terminal. And so the idea of it is that you want to make a credit card machine that's literally about the same size as a VX520 or something along those lines. It's maybe a little bit larger than that, but not much. So the footprint is about the same as a standard terminal. So when you bring it into a merchant's location, there's a psychology about selling this terminal that's just different than selling a point of sale system. You can't really, you could walk into a merchant's location with Clover, but it'd be pretty difficult unless you walk in with Clover Mobile or something like that, or Clover Go. But when you walk in, you can actually hand them the terminal. You can set the terminal on the counter. They can see it. It's a credit card terminal. It's not, they're not going to look at it when a merchant that currently has a credit card machine, when they see a point of sale system, there's a few things that go off in their head. Number one, they think, wow, this is probably extremely expensive. Number two, they think this is probably really complicated, right? Those are the thoughts that they think of as soon as they see a point of sale system. And really even the tablet point of sale systems, in my opinion, many of them have almost become more complicated because they're trying to take all of the functionality and put it into a iPad app, and they're not really thinking very much about the design. And so when they're seeing these point of sale systems, they're thinking about the complication, they're thinking about the investment. When they see a Poynt terminal, they're like, oh, okay, I understand this. It's a terminal you put on your counter and it takes credit cards, but look at all the other things it can do. And so from a sales perspective, I love the solution because it's a terminal. It's just a terminal. When you're selling, you really don't want to make things into a mega decision. People take a lot longer to decide whether or not they should buy a car or a house than they do to decide whether or not they should buy, I don't know, perfume at the store or something like that. The bigger the decision, the longer people are going to take to make the decision. The Poynt terminal is an easier decision than a full-on point of sale system. So from a purely sales perspective, I love the idea of being able to walk in with something that looks like a normal terminal, except it doesn't, because it's really cool and it has all these nice touchscreens, but it's not going to scare them when they look at it. It looks really simple to use. And of course it is, which is also really nice too. Couple of things. It has EMV built in. We'll get more into that in the next slide, but it has EMV built into it, which is great. It connects either with 3G, Wi-Fi, or both. So this is really good for your merchants that want to have a terminal where they can also take it, whether they want an extra terminal or they want to take their terminal to a trade show, that kind of thing. It's a really, really good terminal for that. Has a battery life of up to 8 hours. And I actually have mine sitting here on my desk. I'll turn my webcam on a little later, but I actually have mine sitting on my desk right now. I was just playing around with it again. It's been unplugged for a while and it's still sitting here going and working just fine. And so it's really nice. It has that battery life. You don't have to have it plugged in all the time. The built-in receipt printer is also huge. You can't see it on this picture here, but I'll show it to you in another one. But the receipt printer is really a big deal because one of the things that's really important to me when I look at technology is that so many people really try to kind of leapfrog what the consumer is actually ready to do. And so I see a lot of these merchants where it's like, it's these new systems where it's like, oh, we don't need a cash register. We don't need a printer because everybody's going to pay with their phone. Well, actually, no. Only about 3% of the consumers in stores last month paid with their phone, or I think less than 2%. Now I'm thinking about it. So no, they're not ready for that. It is cool. That stuff is coming. It'll be here in the future, but it's not here yet, And so people want to be able to get a receipt when they want to print a receipt out. They want to be able to, have that receipt and print it out. So has the built-in receipt printer. Really, really important. Pay at table ready for restaurants and things like that. The other thing I'll mention here too is with the receipt printer, it also integrates with cash drawers, kitchen printers, kitchen screens. So all of the kind of normal ancillary hardware items that you would think of with a point of sale system, it integrates with those things and works like a normal point of sale system would in that way. Couple of things here with payment types. We already mentioned EMV, but EMV, NFC, Magstripe, gift card, EBT, cash, credit card, pin on the glass. It's really got a lot of flexibility, which allows different apps to be built on it that are very powerful. It allows the merchant to accept all the different forms of payment. And so they don't have to worry about, right off the bat, they're going to be able to do Apple Pay. They're going to be able to do Google Wallet, all of the new technologies that are coming out. And of course, the old technology. It still has the Magstripe reader and all these things that, people are going to expect it to have. So it's a really, really nice solution for that. So I'll show you 2 other slides here. We'll do this one. The next one, I'm going to jump in and interview Joey. So this is the merchant view. So again, you can kind of see it. The part that you see on the bottom there, that has the roll of paper in it. So that's the receipt printer. But it's got a 7-inch touchscreen display. So kind of, feels in your hand a lot like an iPad mini. Really is how it feels in your hand. It looks really nice. Again, check out my unboxing video I did. It's just really nice. Couple of other things that I'm sure Joey will talk about as well, but it does have a microphone and a merchant-facing camera, and this is because they provide support. And so one of the great things about it is anybody who has a Poynt terminal, they can get live tech support with somebody via video chat. It's pretty cool. And so they have that. And then it's got the charging station on the bottom. So it has a real nice charging station you can stick it into, micro USB port. So it just has a lot of really great features that make it expandable. And this is the kind of terminal where I really believe, somebody could put this terminal in place, and then this could be the terminal they use for literally the next 5 to 10 years without having to make any major changes or upgrades, because the apps are going to come out that are going to make this thing much more useful. So I met Joey. We met and talked a couple weeks ago. We met on the phone and talked about this. So Joey is the co-founder of a company called Boomtown. Boomtown is the largest distributor of Poynt. And so they have a lot of experience with it. And so we're excited to talk to him. I'm going to get him unmuted here in 1 second. One other thing I'll just show you real quick. If you look down here, this is the consumer-facing side, so that they can actually see things on the screen here. This little 4.3-inch display is really nice. It's a touch screen as well. There's a QR code or barcode scanner, so that can take all of these QR code apps that are coming out. They'll be able to use this. You can now see the thermal printer, the NFC antenna, the power button, and then the dedicated secure processor up at the top. And so you can see all that. So I've got Joey's email address on here. You don't, if you wait till we get to the next slide here after the interview, I'll give you some next action steps you can do if you're looking to sell Poynt, whether you're an individual rep or whether you're an ISO, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and get Joey unmuted here. Let's see. There we go. All right, Joey,
okay,
can you hear me?
Can you hear me, James?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Thanks for joining us, Joey. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to get on here and talk about Poynt. Thank you for the introduction as well, and it was nice to go over hear you go over all the benefits, and I'm sure we can go over a lot more. Sure. Obviously, in relation to the Poynt as well.
Well, why don't we start out by having you tell the audience a little bit more about you. How did you end up co-founding Boomtown? Tell them a little bit about Boomtown, what that's all about, and then how you got into Poynt and met them. So give us a little background story for some context.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm out in San Francisco, and when I graduated college in 2010, I was actually selling payment terminals, mobile point of sale solutions mostly, and saw a huge challenge in the space just because merchants needed extra help. They needed a little extra hand-holding, kind of getting going, and then they didn't really have superior support. So Boomtown was created really for the payments industry as a outsourced support company, as well as a nationwide force now of over 1,000 technicians that help with installation, implementation, and then we have a trainings team out of our activations and training team in Scottsdale, Arizona. So really a full managed service company with a software that also helps you kind of manage your support tickets and a lot of different things, like you said, like that support application that goes onto the POS device or the smart terminal, right, where they could basically get live chat or video straight from the Poynt terminal. So we are very much a managed service and a software company. What's nice about my background is just working with a lot of local merchants, selling to local merchants, growing up actually for local merchants, a lot of experience, a lot of understanding their world, what they like, what they don't like, what they're intimidated by. It was nice to hear you kind of say that, this was the one-stop solution, the all-in-one solution, the one that they didn't really have to go shop for. It was an easy solution, right? It was an easy answer when you go out there and sell the Poynt terminal. So, right, very much in line with a lot of my discussions and a lot of my my past history of working with merchants and kind of understanding their struggles.
Awesome. Well, let's see. So can you talk about Poynt a little bit? How did you get in contact with them? How long has Poynt been around, actually, Joey?
Yeah, absolutely. So Poynt's really been around since 2015. I think they just went through a lot of PCI compliance and security, kind of
Right.
like, unique security, I'd say obligations with, or kind of roadblocks with it being on a smart terminal. Um, but really, it's been around since 2015. We actually helped Poynt get in the market by providing outsourced support to Aloha, which was one of their first big bank channels. And because we did such a good job with that channel, they actually kind of granted us as the master reseller of Poynt for all the ISOs in major banks. And it's gone really well. And the reason I think they thought us being a really good fit for that was we provide sales support, we provide operations support, we provide merchant support, and then we're non-competitive. We don't do any processing or anything like that. So we really are a service company and very much customer centric. And we do not focus on anything on the payment side, so on the processing side. So it was really easy for Poynt to say, hey, can you guys handle all of the ISOs? Can you be basically the master reseller to, one, help them accelerate their sales, but also be available to help operation members, and also be available to provide collateral, marketing, anything you can do to help these guys sell. And we really took that role on, and very proud to obviously be here and help them help them get out in the field.
Sure. Awesome. So, one of the questions, it's interesting, Joey, since you and I talked last, I've had for those of you who don't know, on live event, like usually twice a year, I do this crazy thing where I send an email to my entire list of like 11,000 people and say, anybody who wants to have a 15-minute call with me, just go here and you can have a call with me. So it's a little crazy. So I think I've talked to 250 people since we talked last, Joey, and a lot of them saw my videos about Poynt. And so the number one question they were actually asking me that I thought was interesting is, what is your advice as you've worked with all these different ISOs about verticals? Like, which specific business types have you seen that Poynt's done really well in? Which ones have you seen that it does not do so well in? Do you have any thoughts on that as far as specific verticals to go after?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few ways I'm going to answer this question. I think there's the first part I'm going to kind of answer is, how do you sell Poynt, let's say. And Poynt is really, you're switching from a flip phone to a smartphone. And I was just giving a presentation on this, how we've all had that migration before, where we went from a flip phone that can make call and text. Well, now we've gone to a smartphone that can do so much more. It's in the cloud. It has all these apps. It really helps me run my life a lot better, as the Poynt terminal should help run your business a lot better, right? So it's also about helping the merchant identify, though, that helping the sales rep, identify that you don't want to oversell it, right? So you want to help them understand, look, you have the all-in-one terminal. It has NFC. It has Apple Pay, Android Pay. It has EMV. It's mobile, it's wireless. There's so many great things about it, right? You can keep going
Right.
down the list. But really, once they see the terminal and they see how slick it is, I mean, a doctor's office, dentist's office, chiropractors, I would hit them all day with marketing, really visual marketing. Show them what it is. Show them it's a professional device. It's nice, right? And so that's the first thing I would do in regards to the local market is hit the doctor's offices. Let them know there's this beautiful device out there that takes payments now. It doesn't look like that clunky old credit card machine. And then if you want to start, exploring some of the other, opportunities, I say anything behind the counter, really anyone who has a credit card terminal, help them make that migration, but don't overwhelm them with too many features and too many applications that's on there. There's so much it can do. I always just try to go look, have you heard of the smart terminal? Have you heard the new credit card terminals? Kind of start the conversation like that, and then to help educate, obviously based off what their response is or what they're looking for. But it really can handle full cafe, deli, behind the counter retail shop. Something that needs a little inventory management. Someone that does have KDS screens or kitchen printers. It does attach to third-party peripherals. So I'd say start small with the credit card terminal merchants. Help them make that migration, and then if you can, move on to kind of the MPOS players and show them that, hey, for one-fourth the cost of whatever the Clover, Square, ShopKeep, you have the ability to buy this hardware that's all-in-one hardware, and then you can get some. Obviously, you guys can help them with the credit card processing. So I think it's a pretty slam dunk, for all the different verticals that you have in the SMB space.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was the way I was kind of answering it all week is I was basically telling them, if you see a credit card machine on the counter that's like an old, credit card machine, the odds are that's probably a good prospect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's exactly what I tell the reps. If you see a credit card machine, they should be on Poynt.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no reason why not. They can do reports from home. They can manage their business. They can oversee multiple terminals, multiple locations. There's just so much they can do that they haven't been able to do with that old clunky terminal that they have on their desk right now.
Right. So before I ask the next question, so one thing again, just to clarify for those of you listening on the podcast or whatever, so one of the key things you do have to be careful about, for those of you that have never sold a smart terminal or point of sale system or anything before, is like Joy was just saying, you really do have to be careful. We're going to now talk about all these different, what are the apps and all these different things, but you really don't want to overwhelm them. And like I was talking about earlier, one of the big pitfalls you can fall into is that, sales reps, that many of you on here that are so good at going out in the field and selling that VX520 or whatever it is, because it's just a little bit cheaper and it's such an easy pitch for you. If you're not careful, you're going to overcomplicate your sale with Poynt, and you're going to be like, oh boy, I can't sell anybody on this thing. I'm going to go back to the VX520. Well, if you made your pitch for Poynt as simple as you do for the VX520, you probably would close the same number of deals, if not more, because it's more value. So you really have to be careful to simplify it. But having said that, let's talk about, Joey, some of the apps. Like, what are some of the apps that would come standard with the Poynt terminal? What do they do? Like, give a little flavor of kind of like what is the functionality of Poynt that it would do, so the sales offices can kind of identify which verticals they would use different functionality for.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a terminal application right off the bat that you can just go right in there and you can just do a quick charge on credit, cash. It gives you a whole bunch of different options: debit, EBT, check, and you have another option where you can put a note in on what the charge was. And what's really nice about that is that you can really, it is kind of that, hey, here's your new EMV credit card terminal. It does NFC, Apple Pay, Android Pay, and it'll help you collect any type of payment that your consumer makes. And just showing them the device and kind of giving them that one little line, like, they're already going to be interested, right? So then I think there comes down a few different things that will probably get them really excited, and that's the register application, where they can have a little bit more of the menu items, multi-tender, split check. They can have multi-mid as well. So if they're salon, beauty, they can have up to 10 businesses on the terminal. They can switch just like you would switch an employee. There are employee permission levels, and then I'd say that just the mobile reporting aspect that you can draw reports right from the terminal, draw it from home. Those are usually the first things I show. Besides that, the other thing I just show is just a little bit a demonstration of the customer checkout screen, how the customer can choose the tip option on the screen between percentage amount and dollar amount, and then they can also email or text themselves or print. The consumer can choose right on the checkout screen to obviously check them however they want to receive the receipt. So that's kind of like my first, let's just get you interested. Let's just kind of show you how this thing works.
Sure. Okay. Well, so a couple of things I was thinking about with that. So QuickBooks. Well, first let's go back to the mobile app. So can you talk a little bit more? Because I did want to talk about that. So talk about this mobile app that the business owner gets when they get points, so they can see reporting and things like that.
Yeah, so there is like HQ app where they can basically have it by location, by by employee, by date range. Get some really good just sales support. And then there are other POS third-party applications on the device if they need a little bit more inventory management. If they need a little bit more kind of like restaurant features, there's eHopper, Talik. Those are two great applications if you want to kind of move upstream a little. But in the generic software, the reporting, it's really good for a business that does need to do a print a receipt at the end of the night that has kind of the checkout and all the different types of payments and kind of a full report. And it's nice that you can just get that straight from your desktop at Poynt.net, or you can get it straight from the terminal. So it's just that alone right there is something that the merchant has really never had the ability to have, especially with multi-locations or, if you're just a local business owner that wants to pull a report real fast, you can just do it right from home.
Yeah, like one thing that actually really impressed me, you're talking about multiple locations and terminals and stuff. That's one thing that really impresses me about Poynt, because a lot of the smaller kind of, less expensive point of sale systems out there right now, they really, really struggle with that. Ironically, even Clover really struggles with that. The multiple location stuff is, for some reason, is really difficult for people to put in place. But Poynt's done a really good job with that. If you have a merchant that needs like 2 or 3 different terminals, and then they want to have one that they are taking to a trade show or whatever, that actually works really well, and they have the reporting to back it up. So, I really like that about it too. Talk about QuickBooks integration. I assume is that a pretty popular app? I mean, are the merchants actually using it?
I think it's just kind of like one of those no-brainer applications. Like, there's so many merchants that use QuickBooks. It's just something that kind of like adds to the sale. Like, oh yeah, and by the way, it has the QuickBooks integration. By the way, it's already so awesome, but here's here's the cherry on top. That's going to be, very useful for your sales reps, and along with all the third-party apps they have that are built for different industries and different, loyalty reasons, gift cards, building customer database. There's so much on the device, and you said it's an open platform, and a lot of great developers are building, really business-focused applications to help drive this terminal in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of questions before we jump into Q&A, but I'll say this. I know a lot of you are already asking questions. We are going to get to those. Hopefully Joey can stick around here for a few minutes. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and type those out in the question box right there over to the left on the tab there if you have it open. So just ask your questions in there, and we'll get to those in just a minute. Let's talk about what's coming next, Joey. If and again, I don't know how much information you can share, but I know they have some different things in the pipeline right now. It's more of a mobile focus and things like that. You want to talk a little bit about what's coming next from Poynt?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about what's coming next, as long as what's kind of come recently here this fall. That's really exciting. One thing that's coming next is the Poynt 5 terminal, which is it's a smaller device, and it's the same software. It's just a little bit more handheld. It's probably like the size of like iPhone like 6S or iPhone 7S. But basically, what you have there is a little bit more handheld, a little bit more focused on the farmers market, or being at a convention, being out on a truck. It's really nice that that device is going to be a little bit more mobile and a little bit more fun for merchants who obviously have a little bit more mobile setting. It is multi-language now, so you have Mandarin, you have Spanish, you have French and English, and those are all languages that you can toggle on, toggle off. So that's really nice, obviously, depending on the ISOs and banks and resellers that are going into different markets.
Sure.
I think one thing that came out this summer that I've been working on is Ethor, which it makes the Poynt terminal a semi-integrated product for Aloha, Micros, and Dinerware. So that's pretty neat that you can go down to like that huge restaurant downtown and say, look, I now have your EMV compliant solution. That's a home run for some of these businesses that have looked to be EMV compliant. They just can't afford that upgrade. They can get the Ethor integration, the upgrade package, and even though it might seem a little bit expensive, but it's really saving them a whole bunch of money from having them make it, an EMV upgrade with their legacy product. So that's really exciting. And then we just had List Builder, which is an application that was just released. What I like about List Builder, it's built by a Breeze, who also built a few applications for Clover. I love the application they build. It's always about simplicity, right? A lot of merchants use MailChimp or Constant Contact for their email list. Right. So, and that's just kind of two of the software. So they just built a simple, every time a merchant puts in their email for email receipt, that email automatically goes into your email database. So, it integrates with those third-party email marketing platforms. Wow, so huge. Just kind of a quick little plug-in, right? So that's huge. That's so big for those merchants that really value that email list and still use those marketing campaigns. And then there's just, I'd say those are like the newest things. There's going to be always a whole lot more coming. I think we want to get pre-authorization done, where you can actually do a pre-authorization charge later. But for now, kind of a workaround for like a bar, you can basically just do a charge. I mean, you can save an order, put a note on there, and then you can charge later. So I've told a lot of bars, just kind of as they always do. I'm in San Francisco. I'm not sure if it's the same in every other city, but typically they'll ask for your credit card, hold it behind the counter, and then ring you out later. And the new bar application just got done, where it can do actual age verification with the ID on the device, as well as it has all the drink recipes. So that's awesome. You can just tell. You just keep going on. I can go on, but there's just so much fun stuff that's coming out.
Well, and the amazing thing to me is
focus on the verticals.
The amazing to me is that it's like literally in its infancy, right? 24 months from now, it's like exponential. There's going to be so many more apps than there is now, and there's already so much great stuff. But it's like, I think a lot of people are going to look at, okay, how can we use this screen for, the high-end sit-down restaurant, and, that together with Poynt. Because, to me, the big thing that now, once you have Poynt 5 out, then it's like you've got that truly completely mobile solution that's integrated. And so now you can really handle just about any business type. It's just a matter of building the software at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was just talking that to one of our, Alan, who kind of runs our success team, and we were talking about how you don't want to flood. We're worried, are they going to flood the market? Is it going to be too much? And I think that just really comes down to good marketing, finding out, okay, I have a salon. What should I talk about and what should I not talk about? I should probably talk about multi-mid. That's something I should talk about. I should probably talk about, there is a customer loyalty program, but maybe I'll just make a slick about that. Hey, here's a beautiful terminal. It does all your credit card payments and all different types of payment options. And it does multi-mid, and it does really mobile reporting, and it does customer loyalty. Just name three things, right? Kind of go in there with, without, hey, there's a sales tax, integration. There's all this other stuff that you have to, just confuse the merchant and get them almost too overboard, right? But if they're an inventory merchant, maybe talk about the eHopper and say, hey, what's nice about eHopper, you'll pay a little bit more for the software, but you're going to have 40,000 items, and you're going to be able to do a little bit more item management. And there is the Davos sales technology, which is actually going to help you with sales tax on your retail items. So again, just helping yourself frame, and we will too. We have collateral for you. We have a whole kind of online sales hub as well as marketing, and we have sales slicks for you. So use my email if you get stuck or need any help. But very much focused around the different verticals and how you can go to market.
Cool. Hey, I'll throw one question out of left field that I just thought of, and you may not know the answer right now. Cash discounting, are any of the ISOs using the Poynt terminal with cash discounting yet, or are you familiar with it?
Cash discounting is not available yet. I know that it is in the roadmap, and that's something that we've actually, it was just in a meeting and a demo recently. We were just talking about that. So I know that that's in the roadmap. Well, it is not available yet.
It's interesting because I don't feel like the verticals that this is primarily targeting today is really a big deal with cash discounting anyway. But I think I've kind of felt
the same way.
Yeah.
But then I got people kind of ream me out.
Yeah. Well, really and I mean it's like I talked about in back in 2016. I said like 2017 is going to be the year of the cash discount because it's like all the salespeople are just learning about it. The sales offices are like, oh, wait a second, we can have margins that are 3 times higher, and so they are pushing it a lot. And I think in some cases, maybe pushing it too hard into the wrong verticals. But that's why I was curious about that because I know that's going to be in big demand, especially 2018, even more so. So that's good that they're already talking. I mean, to me, it seems like it should be very simple to add that into Poynt. I mean, it's really not. There's really not much to it. It's basically just like sales tax or just changing it around a little bit. So.
Yeah, there is custom discounting and things you can do. It's just more of a manual process right now. So,
right.
I mean, everything that people have asked, it's more of like, hey, it can do it. It might just be a little bit more manual right now than it is automatic.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to jump into Q&A. Before I do that, I'm going to put this other slide up here. So, and for those of you that are listening on the podcast or whatever, so if you look at this and you're like, okay, I want to sell Poynt, what do? Go to ccsalespro.com/Poynt. It's Poynt if you're on the audio podcast, so it's Poynt, ccsalespro.com/Poynt. What you're going to do there, just fill out that form and we're going to reach out to you. Probably Angela or somebody from my office will reach out to you and we're going to find out one or two things. If you are an individual rep, then I'll reach out to you. We've got some good reseller programs for Poynt we can talk to you about as far as getting like a demo terminal. I will say, and I don't know your opinion on this, Joey, but to me, this is definitely something that you want to get a demo terminal and like basically walk into the merchant location. Do you agree with me?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You want to hit this main street. You want to walk around and show people what you have.
It just looks really cool. There's no shame in that.
I couldn't say the same for VF. Exactly. I couldn't say the same for like a basic credit card terminal, but this is, you're on the forefront of technology. Like, go show it off. You guys have a huge lead. You guys are ahead of the game in selling this. The other smart terminals haven't hit the market yet. This is one that's kind of ahead of the curve. So go take advantage of it immediately in your local area.
Yeah, definitely. So, if you just fill out that form, I'll talk to you more about that. We've got some different reseller programs you can take advantage of for that. And you can get a demo terminal and different things like that. But then if you're like an ISO, you've got your own sales team or whatever it is, if it's something like that, I'll just end up forwarding your information over to Joey and he can follow up with you directly on how to set up Poynt. Because again, it is an open platform that works with a lot of different companies and different backends. So let's see. With that being said, let me just open it up to Q&A here and see what we got. Let's see here. Let me go. Oh, wow. We'll get quite a few here. And Joey, if you end up having to run at any point, let me know, okay? And
I'm good. You just feel free to go through the questions. I'm happy to help.
Okay. All right. Good. So let's see. Robert asks, is it durable enough for someone to carry with them when visiting a client? Which kind of just answered. I think a lot of people are using it as a demo terminal. I don't know if you dropped it. It's definitely going to break. But
I'll say it's definitely actually more durable than you would think, though. It doesn't feel like an iPad. It doesn't feel like an Android tablet. It definitely feels a little bit more durable.
It is. Yeah.
You're just kind of playing around with it, and I've dropped it actually many times, and so I'd say that what you'll probably focus on later on is when the Poynt 5 comes out, which will be a little bit more pocket, oriented. Like you put it in your pocket, you can take it out. The terminal's a little bit more robust and a little bit more, but it's still pretty small.
Yeah.
So it's you can walk it around. I have so many merchants that we've helped get set up through our resellers that have just farmers market, take it to conventions with it. And it's really fun because they basically are, I'm sure you guys all have referral programs and they're saying how much money they're making off those ISO referral programs just because they bring it to one convention and everybody asks, hey, where'd you get that? How'd you get that terminal?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and you can see I got my camera for those of you that are actually watching the event there. But you can kind of, for those of you that haven't actually seen it, I mean, that's it. And I mean, it's really small. So, Robert, I mean, to me, I've already started carrying it in just to kind of test it out. And I'll talk about some content I'm going to be doing soon. But that's the terminal. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's plenty small enough and rugged enough to take in. And I think it's big enough though too that the merchant's going to notice it when you set it down on the counter in front of them to show them, hey, look at this thing, So, okay, let's see. You said business and demo. Okay. I don't think you have any like CRM integrations yet. I don't know if that would really be an issue with these particular verticals. Robert's asking about CRM integrations. I mean, MailChimp and Constant Contact is.
There's a Salesforce integration that just came out. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't talked with the engineers on what that's for, but there is a Salesforce integration that came out in relation to Poynt. But yeah, the list builder, which is great, is for merchant focus. It has the integrated email. It basically pulls your email and throws it into the consumer's email and throws it into your basically your customer list.
And you said that it integrates with either MailChimp or Constant Contact, or it's a separate service?
It's a separate service. Those are the two. It integrates with those two, and it integrates with a few more. Those are just two, obviously, very common
the main
email
ones.
marketing platforms that people use.
And I mean, I will tell you, those of you listening, I mean, if you want to add a ton of extra value for free, I mean, MailChimp, you can go there and you can set up somebody with up to 2,000 subscribers for free. So help them set their MailChimp account, integrate it, and like set up their email marketing. They'll love you forever for that. One of the other things I think would be cool, if somebody doesn't build this, I'll tell you right now, Joe, if somebody doesn't build this in 12 months, I'll build it. My team will build it, but somebody needs to do an integration with the text marketing. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So customer Contact has the ability to build a customer database and do email marketing and text marketing, but it is their platform, so it's not as integrated with more popular platforms. But that is, it does cost more money, and it's pretty pricey, but it's really good for merchants who are dedicated to making that kind of that shift.
Sure. Michael asked a question. I'll kind of answer this one, I think, but can Poynt integrate with any processor? I mean, the answer to the question is yes, it can, but it's not like every processor is set up with Poynt. So, I think the best way to answer that question is go to ccsalespro.com/Poynt, put your information in there, and we'll follow up with you so we can find, a good match for you. But yeah, it's not like every processor is currently working with Poynt, but they're interested in working with all the processors. Am I right there, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. With Boomtown, we're working with most of the big processors, so there isn't one ISO that we there isn't one group that's come to us that we haven't been able to work with.
Right? Okay, but they do have to come to you and set it up to work with you. So
that is, unless they have unless they have like a mother ISO that they're under, or a large bank that they're under that's already reselling through Boomtown, they can get an agreement through us, and we can work that out.
Okay, Gary, your question, just go ahead and send that over to me. It's james@ccsalespro.com, and I'll get that over to Joey. For quick service restaurant, does it handle modifiers? You mentioned, I think there was a different app in there, but do you have any additional information on how far it goes with the modifiers and like the POS stuff for restaurants?
Yeah, in the generic software under the register application, there are modifiers. You can actually have it so there's, there's required modifiers that have different prices, and you can have it so there's just selection modifiers where basically I have a burger, I have to choose the size. Let's say like a one patty, I have to choose like how many patties. I have 3 patties, and then I have to choose, then I have unlimited, obviously, toppings. So there's the ability to have, again, the required size and then the kind of selection modifier to add as many as you want.
Cool. What about rewards programs, Joe? I know there's an app in there, I think, already for loyalty and rewards. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so Customer Contact is basically a rewards program that they've came out with that is pretty straightforward and simple to use. There's going to be a few more that are coming out probably within the year that will be really easy, a little bit more kind of like 5-star-ish. I've actually talked with one of them in Scottsdale, Arizona. I visited their office, and they have one that's very similar to like how 5-star Spend Go runs. So I'm really excited to see how that works out, because you basically walk in, you see the customer screen, and you're able to basically join the program right away, right on the screen, check out, and then join the program later. It's going to be pretty seamless, pretty awesome.
Nice. Okay. Is there any extra cost for the QuickBooks integration? I'm sure there is. Isn't that an app that somebody built?
It's actually, it's pretty inexpensive. It's just $5 a month, and that's basically for QuickBooks Online, and that's called QuickSync, and that's actually built by Poynt.
Okay. All right. Because there always is going to be a little, whenever you're doing an API integration like that, there's usually going to be a little cost in there. But so that's pretty low. Let's see. So a couple people have asked about cost and stuff. So I'm not going to get into like specific costs because everybody's going to sell it in different ways. All I will say is obviously, yes, there is a cost to the terminal. Most processors at this point are selling it on some type of a lease or rental program or something along those lines. So just go to ccsalespro.com/point and I'll be glad to answer those questions for you depending on your needs and or forward you over to Joey for that. Okay, let's see here. So they're asking some questions about Aloha. So, do you have any other information, like all versions of Aloha, or do you know anything about the specifics of that, Joey?
There's just a few versions of Aloha Micros and Dinerware. It's not all versions, but I think it's 6.7 for Aloha.
Okay, all right. So there you go, Scott. Let's see, hold on here. And then, yeah, so Simon's asking about, so the idea of the way this works, again, if you go to ccsalespro.com/point, I'll talk to you about how you could get like a demo terminal and things like that. And so, yes, you can get a demo terminal, obviously at a much lower price to take out into the field. Micros, Brad says, is it fully integrated with Micros or just semi-integrated? I mean, I assume that the idea here is it's integrated for the purpose of taking the EMV card. But everything else is still
exactly. It's semi-integrated, so which means you wouldn't be able to order from the actual Poynt terminal, but you would order from the POS station, and then you could walk over, and you could even choose which order it was, and then you could check out the merchant. You could have it closed off to one server. You could have one server actually see all the orders. So it's pretty cool, but it's very, very easy to use, and we've had a lot of success there.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'll reiterate. I mean, I hope that you guys realize like what a massive problem this is right now. I mean, it's amazing to me how many large companies right now still don't have the chip card compliance. So it's a massive expense for somebody that has one of these Aloha or micro systems. We're talking about in the thousands of dollars to fix this problem. So they're going to be more than happy to have a simple solution with Poynt. So I think that's really, really big for sure. I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask you, Joey. Poynt, it's not currently set up to do like auto billing, sending invoices, like web-based type stuff, right?
Yeah, today there's no recurring payments, no recurring payment option. I think there will be in the future. I think that'll be, again, kind of added on to the health, beauty, subscription kind of worlds where we're going to definitely look at something for that. Hopefully there'll be an app that will be developed soon. I have heard of one in the pipeline. Okay. But I haven't heard, where they are.
Yeah, and again, it's like, to me, I feel like right now where Poynt's at today in its life cycle is like the business that's got the VX520 or the Ingenico ICT220 or whatever it is on the counter. This is what replaces and upgrades that. So that's really the market that they were going after initially. So there wasn't the recurring billing and all that because that's just not what those verticals are looking for.
There's so many programs online. I just say, look, and then so if you're doing the processing, right, you can get the merchant with the Poynt terminal. And there's so many programs online that do like scheduling and subscriptions and monthly monthly recurring payments that you can basically just say, look, I'll give you the same processing on the Poynt terminal, and I'll use maybe Authorize.net or US ePay to basically do your online payment. So you'll get the same processing from me. It'll just be two different bills at the end of the month. You'll have one for your Poynt terminal, your in-person terminal, one for your subscriptions, and if the merchant's going to be, if that's going to be too much for the merchant, it's just like, move to the next merchant.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, I think if you get too far into that process, I think you probably just ended up with the wrong prospect.
Well, you become now a consultant, and it's like, look, you're just replacing a credit card terminal, and you can have when I was selling these terminals, I always kind of had like my favorite backup solutions for them. But if I didn't have those solutions kind of with the products I was selling. So I'd say it was going to have a handful of that stuff, but like again, there's a lot of businesses out there. Keep selling.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on here. So let's see. Okay, talk about and this has been an issue for me in the past with different systems. So compatibility with different Wi-Fi routers. Like, are there a lot of specifications or issues with security and stuff?
No, it's pretty awesome. I've even run the terminal on a hotspot on my phones from the Wi-Fi, so. I have not seen to date any problems with the Wi-Fi. It takes minimal coverage. It's pretty awesome device.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's see here. Well, you mentioned earlier about like check services. I assume that that integrates with outside, other pieces of hardware outside to process the checks and all that, right?
Yeah, that's all going to come later on. That's just not available yet. We're looking at probably 2018 for that.
Okay. 1 second here. Paul, I'm going to have you just shoot me an email. Some of these questions are a little bit more in depth. I'll just have you email me, james@ccsalespro.com, and I'll get some stuff over to Joey. Okay, I think I already answered all that. And then talk a little bit more. So a lot of people are asking about kind of like additional marketing materials. You mentioned like an online portal. What's available for somebody that signs up as a reseller to go show a merchant if they don't have the demo or they want to have some other stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have is mostly partner facing, but you have a sales hub for Boomtown, which we have contests on there. We have all introduction to third-party apps. We have overview of the third-party apps, one-pagers. We have FAQ, operations support, as well as we have a link to basically Poynt's marketing site, which gives you collateral and videos, everything from one-pagers from different verticals to actual marketing kits to build your own one-pagers in your own marketing. So we kind of have the whole suite of services and ready to hand those out to you, whether or not you're someone who just wants to use the ones that are already made or really kind of put your branding on there and use ones that are made specifically for you.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's see. Any safeguards against theft and things like that, easy to lose? I don't know. I don't think that's really a big problem, is it, with the countertop terminal?
No, I haven't seen. I mean, we haven't had any case today of like a stolen terminal or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's a closed off. It's a closed off terminal too. So it's just like the person who stole it would not get very far.
They won't be able to do anything.
There's nothing to do with it.
Can it be connected to an Ethernet line or a phone line?
Yes, it can be connected to an Ethernet line.
Yep, it's got the little Ethernet port right there in the base. It's really nice.
Along with 2 USB ports for any kind of, there's other third-party hardware it can be connected to with kitchen printers, receipt printers, cash drawer.
Right. This is actually an interesting one, a question. So a rep that actually has a demo terminal with them, and they're asking about why the paper roll is so small.
Because
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's my thoughts on that, right? It is small, but it's gone to 30 feet. You can order the paper now from the terminal, which is kind of nice, and 30 feet is long. But the width is short, and I think with that, here's my case when I tell it. It's like, one, you want to be eco-friendly. One, you want to tell the merchant you're going to save money by going to email receipts, so push email receipts. And then 3, with email receipts, you can do links back to social media. You can do links back to your rewards program. You can do your website on there. It draws more attention to your business, so you should be using email receipts in today's age no matter what anyways. Yeah. So that's my arrogant response.
No, I agree. That's what I was going to say the same thing, but I was going to say basically like you tell them, yeah, you really want to go towards email receipts because you want to collect email addresses. And I mean, for those of you that don't know marketing, I mean, the email is like the golden ticket. When you have the email address, you can target them, you can retarget them on Facebook, Google, through Google AdWords. I mean, you can do anything. You can send them emails for free as much as you want. Like, you really want that email address. So
yeah, email's still a huge channel for marketing. It's still the number one channel for restaurants and retail today.
Yeah. Let's see. So we answered that. You can email it to them. 100% merchant support. Boomtown being. So that's an interesting question. So Scott's asking about support. Like, he's saying that, basically, and I know Scott, he has more of like a larger ISO. So they would actually, want to handle support themselves. For a lot of these things like first line of defense. They can still do that, I would assume, and then you guys would provide support for the terminal whenever it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Boomtown's really easy to work with. We have like small ISOs that do all their own support. We have large ISOs that do their support, and then we have vice versa. We have huge organizations that outsource all of their support to Boomtown, even like 75,000 merchant ISOs, and we have 5,000 merchant ISOs that all of their support across our whole portfolio of products. For Poynt specifically, we're here to help. If you want to do your own support, absolutely go for it. It's really nice that we do have a training team, we do have an activations team, and we do have that application, which you can actually support your own merchants on. I think today, to start, it's better having our team do it just because we're more well-versed. But that's 24/7 chat and video straight from the device we can do for the Poynt support.
And I think that's a big selling point on its own. Like, how many merchants have been trying to get
so
hold
cool.
of their processor, So, I have a mini
it's so cool. Like,
I'm sorry.
No, just saying, it's just so neat. They've never had that before. Get the chat and video support right from their terminal.
It is so nice. So let's see. Herb is saying, I have a mini mart that scans all their sales. Does this scan, and how many products does it hold? So is there like a SKU limit or something like that?
In the generic software, there's 550 SKUs. Pretty, a few thousand items. I think with the eHopper application, you can get up to 40,000 items, and then you can also get the external barcode scanner, which makes it easier if you need to.
That's right. I forgot about that. Now, does it do Bluetooth? Like if you get like a Bluetooth barcode scanner?
I don't think it does Bluetooth barcode scanner today, but it does have the two cameras on the device, and it does do a USB barcode scanner
USB.
integration.
That's right. I forgot. I'm looking right at it right now. It's got the USB things at the bottom. Okay. All right. Let's see here. And again, a lot of people ask about cost and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that on here because again, it's going to vary so much.
Yeah, we'll go over that and we'll help them out with that. That's what I can say about cost, guys. Is it's coming in way less expensive than Clover, and the monthly fees way less expensive. So
right,
you guys are in a good spot. Just get ready for that.
Yes. I know we already talked about cash discounting. Michael's asking about tipping, doing tips on there, which you mentioned briefly, but if you could maybe elaborate a little bit more. But it does have a very good capability for tip, right?
Yep, they can enable tip, and they can have it so it's they can choose dollar amount, they can choose percentage amount, they can customize it. They can have some configured tip amounts on there before the customer checks out, but pretty easy to use, really, really easy to navigate through, and Poynt.net for the merchant when they set it up.
Cool. Okay. And some of the stuff I think we already kind of answered was like online ordering, things like that, which is something that's going to be coming soon, probably 2018, I would think.
There is Appetizer where there's like order ahead. So Appetizer
Really?
is an order ahead application that integrates with Poynt in your menu. So that's a little bit, that's available for ordering ahead.
Really? Wow, that's actually cool. I didn't know about that.
Yes.
So wait, talk a little bit more about that. What's it called again?
It's called Appetizer, and basically it connects to your menu on your Poynt. What it is they can order ahead, they can order online,
Wow.
to your business.
That's awesome. That's huge. I didn't realize you had that. That's really cool. So a lot of these like pizza shops that have been wanting to do the online ordering for a long time would now be able to. So they would be able to do that by telling their customers that if their customer downloads the Appetizer app on their phone, that they would be able to select that business and order ahead.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. So they do have the online ordering already. That's a huge step there. I didn't even know about. Let's see. Let's work through Wi-Fi. Yeah, it works through Wi-Fi. Does it automatically store the email address? We talked about that. Well, actually, I don't know. I guess we didn't talk about that. So if somebody puts their email address in to get their email receipt, I assume that there's a setting you can turn on or something where then that email address gets stored, and with the app you talked about, it would get sent over to MailChimp. Is that right?
I don't think in the generic software it saves your email. Excuse me, one second. Do you know if the generic software saves your email for Poynt? I don't think it does, right? No, yeah, it doesn't save it. So that's why you have to get that list builder.
Right, but if you got the list
Breeze.
builder app, it would do that for you.
Automatically, yeah, and it's not that expensive. It's only $10 a month, and like you said, Mailchimp is already free for the first 2,000 emails. So it's just like you're basically spending $10 a month for a email marketing program, and you're basically you're getting all the emails from your customers. It's a pretty awesome advantage for your merchants to have.
Cool. Okay. Well, we'll end with one last question that actually was going to be a question from me, but since somebody asked it here, I'll ask you now. The SDK, the development kit, like I've got this development company. There's another person on here that says they have one and they're looking at, looking into app development. Is that something they would contact you for as well, or is that something you go directly through Poynt for?
You can contact me. I do have contacts. So basically, if you go to poynt.com/developers, it's all, again, you said it's an open platform. They have the open APIs right there. So if you want to skip that step, just go to poynt.com/developers. If you love working with me, you can just email me and I'll help you out.
Okay, there you go. So poynt.com/developers is where we need to go for that. Okay, and again, if I missed your question, I apologize. There was a lot of them, but we're going to stop it right there. And again, make sure you go to ccsalespro.com/Poynt, Poynt. Just fill out that. It's a little form there. Fill it out real quick. My secretary is going to reach out to you tomorrow first thing. We'll find out what are your needs. Are you at ISO? Are you big company or individual rep? Where are you at? And then we'll kind of point you in the right direction from there, so we can make sure you get a demo terminal and get out in the field and sell this thing. I'm really, really excited about it. Joey, I really appreciate your time on the event tonight. So thanks so much for taking time to be with us today.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks so much. And I look forward to working with you all.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody so much. We're going to call it a night, and we'll talk to you soon.